Hello, my name is Kate and I run Bounce Tuition. At Bounce Tuition, we tutor for English GCSE and IGCSE, language and literature, and also for A-level. In this video, I'll tell you a little bit more about us so that you can make an informed decision about whether you would like to contact us to see whether we could work together in the future. So most of the tutoring is done by myself. I do have two other people on my team who are very good at very specific things, and we'd make an assessment to see who would be best for your child. First of all, I'll start with my qualifications and experience, and then I'll let you know the values that underpin the tuition at Bounce Tuition, and also some successes to date from my students. So I have a degree in English from the University of Hull in the north of England, and my postgraduate certificate of education, my PGCE, comes from Greenwich University in London. I also have a certificate in ethnic minority achievement from the same university, which focuses a lot on English as an additional language and how to support those students who don't speak English as a first language. I started my teaching career in London in government or state schools, where the teaching was quite tough but very innovative. And I carry a lot of those experimental, innovative techniques with me. I know what works and I know what doesn't. After about 10 years, I moved on to the independent sector or the private sector, and I worked in my first international school, in fact, in the UK. And that really opened my eyes to an international education. As well as this, I also am a debate coach. I became involved probably about 15 years ago now in international debate for schools and universities. And I'm a real champion of debate because anything to do with critical thinking and articulacy really helps students achieve their best. If you think about it purely from an exam perspective, students who can debate can articulate themselves academically, they can prioritize their points, and they can really keep the audience in mind throughout everything that they do. So I'm a real champion of debate, and I've been involved in it on 3 continents and throughout the school and university sector, right through from Key Stage 2, 7-year-olds, all the way up to undergraduates. As well as this, I'm an examiner. We're not allowed to advertise the exam boards and papers that we mark for, but if you are interested, please do contact and I can let you know. I'm a lead examiner for one major exam board and I'm an associate examiner for another major exam board. After teaching in the UK for a long time, I moved abroad. I taught briefly in Bangladesh, which was a fascinating experience at an international school there. And then I moved to Malawi and I taught at an international school called St. Andrews International High School. And this is a school that I'm still very much involved with. And to be honest, it's one of my favourite schools in the whole world. It's at this school that I can see daily that I was right in believing that it doesn't matter about prior attainment. If a student wants to put the work in, they can attain whatever grade they want to attain. I see it day in and day out with these students, and I take this through to my tuition. So in terms of my tuition outside of school, I am focused on students from all over the world, really. I have taught students from Switzerland, from France, from the UK, from Hong Kong, from Vietnam, from Palestine. Most of them are in mainstream school. Others are learning their self-study or homeschooled. And for example, there's one student who took international A-level completely with me because his school didn't offer it. So it's very exciting. We're waiting for the results to come out. And yeah, lots of different options there. There are 3 things that I find when tutoring, though, usually. Number 1 is confidence. Students, especially at IGCSE and GCSE level, they can lack confidence, and this can hinder their results. An underconfident student will struggle to achieve their potential. And of course, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you don't feel confident, you probably won't ask many questions in class because you don't want to seem like you don't know. So tuition is the place to ask those questions. We go through and we explore thoroughly everything that is relevant to the exam and to the student's sense of well-being. The next thing is exam strategy. English is very difficult when it comes to exam strategy for many students, simply because it is subjective and abstract. Even the marks genuinely are subjective. So one examiner may mark a student at a 22 and another at a 24. Of course, there are checks and balances, but it is essentially subjective. So it's my job to ensure that there are no grey areas. There are no doubts about what a student knows and what a student doesn't know. And we iron that out in exam strategy. Finally, of the three, the curriculum content is possibly the most difficult to rectify. If you think about English language being the size of a tennis ball, then English literature is the size of a basketball. The content is enormous, and it can be extremely bewildering for students who are not regular readers of fiction in English, which, let's face it, is a lot of students. Of course, in an ideal world, I would love for every student to be reading a wide variety of fiction from around the globe. However, this is not everyone's aim and it's not everyone's value. So I know the shortcuts. I know how to get students reading what they need to read and understanding so that they can show a deep understanding and appreciation of the literature that is in front of them in the exam. And that's where the grades come from. If you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to get in touch, and I will happily organise a chat with you or send an email, whatever works for you.